I've worked with thousands of authors, and here are some of the biggest mistakes I see first-time authors make. My name is Joel Mark Harris, and I am the author of The Secret to Writing Your First Book, The Essential Guide. In this video, the goal is to really cut down the time and effort it takes for you to write your first book. So the first mistake, and by far this is the biggest I've seen, is that authors don't use an outline. Now, there's a lot of writers who debate over whether an outline is good or not, but I really like it because it really helps with the writing process. A lot of people who are anti-outline, they say, well, Stephen King doesn't use an outline, why should I? Well, Stephen King has spent countless hours, time and effort to hone his craft. He's written hundreds of books, and when you get to that level, then you can reconsider using an outline. But if you're just starting out, an outline will help you figure out your character's motivation, their character arc, the plot points, if there's any twists and turns, do they make sense? It will literally save you probably 100 hours starting out when you're writing, because you can figure that out before you actually put a single word to page. And I know a lot of people feel like it stifles their creativity. I believe that you don't need to necessarily follow the outline verbatim. You don't need to be a stickler to following, but it's good to have goalposts and to figure out whether you're on track or off track. And this will really help you out and make your writing a lot easier. The second thing is a failure to understand your audience and who you're writing for. This is especially important for nonfiction authors. If you're writing a memoir, an autobiography, what are you trying to say and who is your target audience? And I know, again, the problem with this is that a lot of authors don't like to think in marketing terms, but this will really hone your writing style, your craft, and it will let you talk to the people who really need to hear your message. Now, the third one is information dumping, and this can really stifle your book and it can really slow things down to a halt. You have to make sure that you're laying in the information in an easy to understand, in an easy way that doesn't feel like it's such a heavy burden to read. And there's different ways of conveying information. Maybe it's through dialogue, it could be just through characters' thoughts or feeling, but it's really important not to just dump a whole lot of information all at once. So the fourth mistake I see authors make is they use cliches or overused ideas. And this is a hard one to avoid because we consume so much media, so many different stories. It used to be that a person just read a couple books a year, or they would go to a movie every Saturday, so they would only see a couple movies a year perhaps. Now with streaming and binge watching, we get so many different stories. It's really hard to come up with an idea that feels fresh and relevant. The only way to really avoid this is to watch a lot of TV. I know I'm telling you to watch TV. This is going to be probably the only time somebody actually tells you to watch TV. To watch a lot of TV, to read a lot of books and see what the general trends are. And the good thing is that you can amalgamate the different trends and the different themes that you see in your genre and combine them and make something new and fresh. On to the next, again, a really common one. It is inconsistent tense. So especially for novice writers and authors, is that they switch between past, present, and even sometimes future tense when they're writing their story. This can be used for a stylistic purpose, but if it's just a mistake, it just looks really awkward and is really it throws the reader off, and they won't be able to follow the narrative as well as if you are consistent in your tense. The next one, this is a common mistake that a lot of pro writers use or have, and that is overusing their vocabulary or trying to sound impressive. This happens a lot in academic writing, is where they use big words. You don't need to use big words or fancy vocabulary to have a good story. The important thing is that you talk to your reader. Again, think about your audience. What sort of words do they use? What vocabulary do they use in everyday speech? And what do you use in everyday speech? Don't try and sound smart. It doesn't work. It just throws the reader off, and you don't want them to go to the dictionary and look up every word, because that really takes away from the meaning, the story that you're trying to tell. Next is lack of editing. And so a lot of first-time authors, they do not get the book edited as much as they should. If you're a first-time author, I would recommend a minimum of 5 rounds of edits. And I know that seems a lot, but really helps to really refine your writing. It will help in not only the book that you're writing, but if you plan on writing a next book, it helps figure out where your stumbling blocks are and what are your common mistakes, because I guarantee there are some things in your writing that show up consistently throughout the book, and this will help you going forward. Even today, I had an editor go through my most recent book, and I could see the common mistakes that I were making, and whereas repeating words and repeating ideas that didn't need to be repeated. So even as a experienced writer, it really helps me to get a experienced editor to look over the book. And this brings me to this next mistake that a lot of authors make, and that is being overly sensitive of criticism or dismissive of especially constructive criticism. If somebody means well, they're experienced in the editing process, take what they say to heart. And I don't mean that you necessarily have to listen to everything that they say, but really look into why did they feel that way? Why did they say that? Or what is their point of view? And delve into why they feel like something is a mistake or why I feel something doesn't flow. If you still believe in your point of view that you want it to flow that way or you want it to come across that way, then feel free to ignore it, but don't get overly sensitive. I know, again, this is something that I struggled with as a young author. One editor that was super harsh, and he just it's your quintessential red line everywhere, and he didn't soften any of the critiques, and so I was really hurt by that. But when I got past that hurt and looked into, okay, why did he write that, or why did he say that, I could see his points, and I didn't change everything he said, but it made me a better writer. All right, that's it. That's some of my common mistakes. What did you think? Is there any that I missed that you feel like there's a common mistake that young or inexperienced authors make that I did not include in my video? Let me know in the comments below. Please like and subscribe for more videos like this one where I talk about writing and the craft of writing books. Talk to you in the next video.